Okay, let's turn this into this. After filling in the gaps and sanding it down, I wanted to add a little bit more detail, so I used the end of this file to scribe in some panel lines, and I added on some different card panels and a bunch of rivets as well, using these little glass beads. The body got primed with a dark brown. I started out with a rough overbrush of this metallic color made with silver, brown, and black paint. This gives the foundation for a fairly rough metal color. I make a similar mix, but a little bit lighter and with more silver, and I use that to, again, pretty roughly dry brush or overbrush metallic highlight. Still the very brown metallic color. I made a quick black wash out of acrylic ink, a little bit of brown, and then a medium that I made out of matte medium and water. All the metallics get the black wash just to bring out more detail. I made a red mix using a dark red, a little bit of brown, and some Floaid. And I started painting the panels the exact same way that I did for the Ork Gargant, and that is just painting the center and working out towards the edge in sort of a rough manner. This ends up giving a final effect of a very weathered or very chipped painted panel. Here you can see it's starting to take shape. As I paint the fender here, you can sort of see the effect kind of come to life. So starting from a plain metal panel with red streaking on it, eventually it builds up. The paint was semi-translucent because of the medium or because of the flow improver, and so I went over with a second and third coat over quite a few of the areas. On some of the panels I came back with quite a thick paint and even worked up a little bit of texture in the third, fourth, fifth coat. This is sort of part of the narrative that the Orks and Grots kind of obsessively paint their vehicles red, and they probably hit this area many times, sort of layering thick, messy layers of red upon red upon red. Okay, I made a black using black acrylic paint and black ink to make it even a darker black. And then some panels got painted in the same fashion, working the paint just towards the edge, leaving the metal exposed to instantly weather them. I made the white tone using a cream colored paint and white ink along with a little bit of flow improver. And in the same way I picked out the panels and details, leaving the metal edge exposed. It was time to try my hand at a little bit of freehand. The checkerboard pattern is what I was going for, so here is my attempt. I just sort of worked slowly and measured out each part roughly, sort of an estimated spacing, and then I filled in the squares. The secret here was not completing the squares. That's just because some of that paint is chipped off. And the final effect basically looks like roughly painted white squares that have chipped away over time. I used pretty much a pure silver just to pick out some of the high points in the metal. Just areas that would have gotten the main wear, like a few of the rivets and some corners where there'd be a lot of impact and scratching. I painted up the tires in a basic gray. Look at them, they're gray. Okay, then I gave them a black wash just to bring out the detail. There's a few pipes or cables that I wanted to pick out with green. This would also provide a little bit of contrast as it works nicely with the red. Including that one cable in the undercarriage that nobody will ever see. As I was painting the green, I realized I could add a little bit more detail to the turret. So I used these paper clips to add some cabling or tubes that go up to the main cannon. And then those got painted with the lighter green. What did I do? I made a rust mix using orange, red, brown, and then more brown, and more orange, and a little bit of medium. And once it was looking pretty good, I started to apply that liberally into the recesses and almost just about everywhere that there's exposed metal. It's kind of hard to overdo it with rust on an Ork vehicle. I included some streaking or running along some of the black panels where there's a lot of rust leaking out. Once the basic colors were pretty much done, I decided to add some dirt and earth. So I had this mostly old, a little bit partially dried up acrylic paint, which I was able to extract from the bottle. Some of that wouldn't be useful, so I just kind of pulled that out of the earth. I added a bunch of baking soda in, and that actually makes a really good mud texture. So that got liberally applied over the undercarriage, the wheels and wheel wells, everything where mud might splash up. There you can see it's looking pretty chunky, pretty good. I used a little bit of brown and then a lot of white ink and some thinner to make a dry dust kind of spray, and I applied that with the airbrush in different areas where mud and dirt would spray up and then dry into a light tan color. Once that dirt spray was applied, everything was pretty much done. So there it is. If you haven't seen how this was built, you can go back and watch the first part of the series. If you enjoyed watching this build, please remember to like the video, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next build.